Good morning, good afternoon, and good day to all my blessed beloveds out there in Radio Land. It's living and thriving time. I have guests coming on today. I'm super excited to talk to. I'm trying to adjust my screen here. As you know, I'm working on my home office, and I don't want you to see how messy it is right now. So we're just going to blink in and out for a second. Tarah should be joining us in a moment. I'm really excited to talk to her. She's been a friend of mine for a number of years. She is the proprietor of Allergic Traveler, and she's going to talk to us about some tips and tricks that we can do at this time, obviously, to have some self-care. And I'm super, uber excited to have her come on. As you know, I have quite a few guests coming on this way, visually, as well as on my radio show on Thursdays. So tune in, subscribe, either there or there or there. I still am learning the technology. Or just go to rustie.info and check it out. Let's see, Tarah should be coming. Hold on.
Oh, good.
All right, how are you today?
I am wonderful. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Woo, woo.
So you had a tornado like brush by you, so your internet's a little wonky, right?
Yes, that was probably, we're Wednesday. I think that was Monday night. And so there's been X amount of houses that got damaged, of course. And then there was, I think, 1,000 people in the neighborhood that went without power and, of course, without internet.
Ugh. Well, I'm glad that it just brushed by you, because I adore you,
Yes.
as you know. And I'm so glad that you are here joining us today, even with the wonky internet. We're going to try to get through this pretty quickly. Who are you? What do you do? And where do we find out more about you?
Oh, great. Okay, so I'm Tarah Jakubiak. I run Allergic Traveler, and the website is allergictraveler.net. And essentially what we do is we produce these dietary cards for people with food allergies that like to travel. And so when they're eating out, either locally or abroad, they can hand their little card to the waiter, and they know immediately what their restrictions are. And as you can imagine, with the pandemic, things are a little on the slow side because most restaurants are closed and no one's traveling. So I got lots of time on my hands.
Yes, you do. You keep freezing, so I don't know if you want to do this again. I might just send you the recording to see if you want to do this again when your internet's back up. But
okay.
I think it's kind of fun because this is really where we are in the world and in society right now. We have this beautiful situation in which we have to recreate and reinvent and explore what it means to not only be less human in contact and connection, but also technology and all of that good stuff. What are the
I'm sorry?
Nope, go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, everyone's calling it the new normal, but I think there's all kinds of side effects to this pandemic that we're not realizing, and things that'll be implemented in the future, and it'll be the new norm. So for example, I think companies will have to start realizing that more people are going to want to work remotely, or at least make that an option 50% of the time, 75% of the time, whatever that case may be. Because who wants to go into the office when your colleagues are sick, or who wants to go into the office when you're sick? So well, I'm looking forward to positive change.
I think there's going to be a lot of positive change. I think people are going to really get good with themselves. You kind of have to. You know, the walls do close in after a while. I don't know if you saw my Facebook post, but I've rearranged my house 7 times, and I'm now looking at vertical sleeping. Chloe didn't appreciate the staple gun. So you know, I wouldn't call it a new norm. I would think of it as new growth. We have to kind of experiment right now, and there's a lot of things that we've taken for granted that are not necessarily available to us. One of the things that really freaks me out is touching things out in public, like shopping carts and things, no matter how much gel or gloves or whatever, because gloves are bad. That's my opinion. I still feel like, ew, because you just don't know. There's so many stories that you hear of people doing bad things, you know, spitting on produce and crazy stuff, that it just makes me a little paranoid. I think I'm more paranoid than I've ever been about that stuff.
Well, and I think that we've been trained for this, like the people in the food allergy world, because of cross-contamination, because of how sensitive residue can be and people can have reactions to it. I think we've been trained, frankly, not to touch anything. I mean, it's, you know, I think about when I walk on the plane and people always ask me, how do you travel with all these allergies and everything being airborne? I'm like, you just don't touch anything. The only thing I touch when I'm on the plane is the seatbelt. And if you're traveling with somebody, they can help you with the seatbelt. So it's really, I mean, we're pros at this point. We don't have to touch things necessarily. We don't just, where you can see certain people are very tactile. They want to touch everything, whether it be a fruit or whether it be the wall or the handles or everything.
Exactly right. Well, and somebody had asked me recently what I thought about people in masks and so forth. And I just kind of looked at him and I'm like, well, having an autoimmune disease, we have to live like that anyway. Not necessarily to the extreme of a mask, depending on the situation. But yeah, I mean, we're pros at that.
Yeah, we are. And you know, there's two mindsets. There's those that have got this and they've been doing it for so long. Actually, maybe there's three mindsets. There's those that are freaked out and are not sure how to navigate this world.
Right.
And there's those that are very nonchalant, that are not taking anything seriously, that may only wash their hands like whenever they go to the bathroom, and that's it, and they think they're fine. And I don't think, just like with food allergies, no one's going to treat it the same across the board. And it would be wonderful if everybody did, because then it wouldn't just be us all staying at home, but we'd all be, you know, every time you go outside, you have to wash your hands. Every time you do this, you have to wash your hands. If it was implemented, I think that would bring the pandemic and the numbers a lot lower.
In my experience living in God's waiting room here in Southern Florida, the youngest person for miles, if they just stayed home for 14 damn days, stay home, stay in your yard, 14 days, that's it. And we'd be through with this by now, but it's just people are ignoring. And down here, it's like nobody, I mean, they're still going to church down here.
Really?
Yeah. Chloe and I went driving on Sunday because driving's safe. You can drive, you're not touching anything or being near anybody. Right. And in the first time in Florida history, people are actually separating their cars too, which is kind of awesome. Usually they're all like that, like New Jersey, you know? But yeah, the churches were packed.
That's insane. So here, what they've done is they're either having like parking lot services and everyone's in their own car and they have a microphone, or of course they're doing a lot of services virtually. I have heard of some that were actually still, like I think it was in Texas, some people were still having church services and the police showed up and told everybody to go home. Again, if we could all treat this the exact same way, I think we'd be in much better shape.
I agree. All right, so one of the things that I wanted to pick your brain about, because everybody's going stir crazy and you have a million allergies. Talk to us about like your top 5 things that you're doing to not be completely stir crazy and taking care of yourself, you know, that self-care, loving the inside, outside, soul, mind, the whole thing.
Just 5? I got a few more.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll start with 5. So running Allergic Traveler, though, I've been working from home for a long time. So I feel like, okay, I got this. I know everyone else is in this boat now with me, but I mean, I've had to set up structure, because when you're working at home, this is one of my tips, is you can get distracted by things very easily. You can walk by a room, see a pile of laundry, and need to do that, or you're just going to clean this surface because it's a little too dusty or whatever. And so my first tip is to really try and keep a structure. It doesn't have to be like when you have in your regular workday where you have meetings one after another, but you know, at least keep it in chunks. in terms of, you're going to work out in the morning, you're going to study, and then you're going to do chores in the afternoon, whatever the case may be, but at least try some structure so you have things forward to, number one. But number two, then you can also feel like you've accomplished something, like, yay. So I try and also set, my second tip is to try and set goals, whether it be a goal for the week or whether it be daily goals. And so daily goals I like to think of as something smaller, like, I don't know, writing a letter. So that's something small. Write a letter to your mother, your grandmother, somebody who'd like to hear from you, old school, and you get it done and you've accomplished. We always want to take pride in what we do. And when we don't have that human contact from everyone else saying, hey, you're doing a great job, you have to give that to yourself. So you have to set yourself with some daily goals that you can accomplish that are reasonable, not overboard, and then give yourself a bigger one for the week. So by the end of the week, you say, yes, I did that, whether it be like yard work, something that is going to take you 3 to 4 hours to do.
Right. I am.
So there's, and then specifically with regards to allergies, I'm like, get creative in the kitchen. This is the perfect opportunity to do it, because of the fact that the grocery stores have limited products. And so, for example, I had to get sugar the other day and they didn't have any sugar. So my substitute was maple syrup. And I had to make that work.
I love maple syrup.
Maple syrup in coffee, in your cakes, whatever.
Yeah. Maple syrup's the best.
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit about like mental exercises that you would recommend people do at this time. I'm all about meditation, gratitude lists, that kind of thing. I burn my sage, I have my Zen music, but not everybody's like that. So what kinds of opportunities can people take advantage of that might be a little different than that?
I do 2 things to help mentally with myself. I make sure that I exercise every day. And by every day, I mean weekly. So like Monday to Friday, I make sure that I have a set time that I exercise. So currently, last year I used to do it before I started my day. And then this year I found that was too much. Like I was starting my day too late. So now I do it on my lunch hour break. And I'll go for a walk. And it's very relaxing for me. It's a way to decompress and deal with all my stresses and figure out what's going wrong and how I handle it and attack the afternoon. And then when I have the luxury of doing it, I also incorporate yoga wherever I can. And so that's usually not as long, maybe about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, but it's just to recenter myself. Because if I don't, then, you go down the rabbit hole of the crazy thoughts in your brain and you can't come back. And so once you start that path, it's horrible. So again, going back to structure helps, but also the yoga helps as well for me.
I think going down that rabbit hole, everybody's doing that right now. We have so much confusion, so much tension and fear and all of these, perfectly beautiful human things. And that's why I wanted to do this face-to-face, because I think it's really important to see somebody's face, to see their expressions, to participate as much in a human way, in a positive human way. And so I'm grateful that you joined me today.
Of course. I'm happy to do this. My other tip is also to make sure to incorporate the do nots during the day. So, for example, I never watch TV. I don't have the TV on. It's not until after dinner, and that's kind of like my reward. And I'll do a binge-a-thon, or I'll do a movie or whatever. But I try not to have the TV on during the day, because again, it interferes with my goals for the day. And no one ever walks away from the TV proud and said, hey, I watched 5 Law and Orders in a row, yay me. It doesn't work that way. So I want to make sure by the end of the day, I've accomplished something that I'm proud of, and watching TV is not one of them.
No, I try to avoid it. I'll watch like a YouTube how to do it yourself kind of thing, or maybe, a documentary or something, but I really try to avoid the tube. I am notorious for not being able to sit down. I'm a busy person. So yeah. I really have rearranged my house 7 or 8 times.
You want to come do my house? I promise I'll leave it.
I have a garden that I'm building out here, and I've learned a lot about plumbing. I have changed all kinds of things that have been broken around here. I don't know where our landlords are. They like to travel a lot, so I'm assuming they're somewhere in quarantine. So it's been fun to kind of reinvent that part of me, and I found that I swear a lot more than I used to. Plumbing's not my thing.
So nothing your daughter hasn't heard before, right?
No, her father's worse, so we're good. He's got a really bad mouth. But she's been in quarantine since January because when she came back around Thanksgiving, she was like sleeping all the time, and we thought it might be her depression. In January, we found out she had a very severe mono. And every time I'd send her out, like she'd start feeling a little better, so I'd send her to school, she'd come home really sick. So I pulled her from school, and she's been homeschooled since January. That kid's going stir crazy. She is going stir crazy. She wants to be with her friends. She wants, and she's 14, that's normal. So, as a parent, it's a juggling act to try to keep everybody sane, but I'm telling you.
Well, and not only that though, but you're working from home.
Yeah.
You have to be a mom. Oh, and by the way, you have to be a teacher now because you have to make sure they're doing their homework and help them wherever they can. Oh, and let's not forget, we have to take care of the house and the plumbing and the yard work and all this stuff. Like, there's a lot being put on people right now. And then add to that the financial uncertainty. Sorry. I think it's more important than ever that we take care of ourselves, because if we don't take care of ourselves, there's no way that we can do all this and take care of others.
And I'm really big about letting it go. Like, I have a big pile of dirt and seeds and planters, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. And I walk by it every day, and it drives me crazy. It just, I want to get to it, but I have to learn to let certain things go for the moment, not forever, until I get the other stuff done. And like you, I work from home and I work outside of the home. I'm an essential employee. And so 50, 60 hours a week of trying to juggle it all. And you have to be able to let stuff go. You have to be able to take that time out. And, I love waking up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning so that I can have my coffee, play my Scrabble, go out and watch the sunrise.
Wow.
And to me, that's just refreshing to see the world start over again.
Yeah.
And here in Florida, I live in Jurassic Park. I'm staring at this gargantuan lizard that's on top of my rose bush right now. And he's like this long. And in the morning, it's very much an orchestra here, because all of the tropical birds and all of these creatures, they just come to life and they start moving, and then humans start moving, and so you have that added noise. And I feel privileged waking up like that every morning.
Well, it sounds beautiful. I mean, it sounds like a great way to remind ourselves that we are starting anew, and here's an example of all the positive. Yeah. I agree. I mean, we need to focus on that mindset, and it is doable. And I think, we're going to get through this. And to your previous point about like the pile of dirt and the seeds, I think something that we need to focus on is the fact that we all have like to-do lists, like long projects. The reality right now is that we don't have to put a due date on these things because of the fact that we might be in quarantine for another month. So it's okay to do it in stages, as opposed to, I got to sit down now and do this in the next 3 hours. Otherwise, I'm never going to have time to do it. It's not true.
It's unraveling that, I've got 44 years of the clock.
Right.
And it's unraveling that, which I think has made this more painful for some people, because they're not like you and I, where, we've gone through so many storms, like, whatever, I'll just rearrange it again if I have to. Right. But I think a lot of people are more stir crazy because they don't know how to unwrap.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
What kinds of ways do you think would be starting points to, you know, I don't have a clock in the house. The only clock that I have is my little phone. That's it.
Wow.
But again, going through as much as we've gone through, it's relevant. You know, what's relevant to you versus what's relevant to somebody else. Sorry, my Apple thing just.
Well, and to answer your question, like how to help those that need help and how to get them out of their heads, I think we have to remember to forgive ourselves. And if we can forgive ourselves, then what I mean by that is that we can allow ourselves to take 3 days to get something accomplished. We can be proud of the small little things that we do, whether it be, you know, even just exercising 15 minutes a day. We need to, we spend so much time criticizing ourselves, and it's not a good mindset to be in when we're struggling with this pandemic and being locked indoors. So you need to forgive yourself, number one, and then applaud even your small steps. Your baby steps are things that they add up eventually. And eventually it becomes a huge thing that you're like, wow, the office, it looks beautiful. I am so proud of that.
I'm waiting on my green screen, and I've been waiting on it for a while. I think I'm going to be waiting on it longer, but you know, it's the baby steps. It's having appreciation for each moment and slowing down. It's really hard to, you know, I always tease. I'm like, well, I think today's Monday, but I know it's in between tomorrow and yesterday. That's all I know.
You know? I love that. I'm going to steal that from you. That is fantastic.
and so I just sit here going, okay, what kind of mischievous thing can I do now? And I found my Nerf gun. I found my squirt gun. So Chloe is like in hiding. But I find that when like yesterday, I found myself to be a little pissy, you know. There are things like I have to get my daughter's social security card because I can't find it anywhere, but of course social security isn't open. Right. And because she's a minor and we live in Florida, you can't do it online.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's just like all of these things that are out of my control, and I was getting pissy, and I said, that's it. So I put on some Monty Python and I felt better.
Good.
I think if we do things like, you know, don't watch the TV, don't even bother. There's just don't do it. That will make you 10 years younger. I know that I am 10 years younger and I'm on my 3rd week of not watching any of the nonsense. Doing a lot of comedies, like watching or listening to, I personally found Andrew Dice Clay very funny in his raunchy way. You know, go back old school. Yeah. Listen to music. I love music. Yeah. And gardening has been really, really actually very meditative. I've really enjoyed planting my beans and peas and all the things that nobody can spit on because it's in my backyard and I got a squirt gun.
So with regards to your garden, like when is all that going to come to fruition? How long does
everything's growing rapidly here.
Already?
Oh my God. 2 weeks ago, I planted peas from scratch. They're already this long.
Really?
Holy shit. I've got, So this is my first almost successful attempt here because our seasons are different. Yeah, I had 7 gardens in Maine. I had chickens, the whole 9 yards. And seasonally, you can do that. Right. Here, it's kind of opposite because now we're getting ready for tornadoes and hurricanes and humidity and all that good stuff. So I'm learning the process. I probably should have started in December, but we'll see. I'll let you know. I'm excited though. I've got more beans and peas, and I can even tell you, it's just, I couldn't even believe how quickly they've grown. The squash, the cucumbers, and the melon.
That's awesome.
Crazy. So, you know, worst case scenario, I'll mail you some if we still have a post office.
Okay. So tell me something. Do you have problems with the critters and the animals getting into this?
We are in bunny kingdom. So most of my stuff is inside my lanai. I'm growing inside there because it reduces loss that way. I have a couple of things I'm putting outside just to see what's going to transpire. But yeah, we're in bunny kingdom and they are everywhere. Yeah. So I'm sure I'm going to get robbed, hijacked.
Yeah, here too. We got problems with the bunny rabbits and the deer. So I gave up after a while. I was like, they're winning. I give. I'm just a visitor. They own this place.
Right. Yeah. So I have half my beans and peas and melons outside and the other half inside because there's just a surplus right now. And so far it's been pretty good. We don't have deer issues. They have weeded out the boars here. We had a pig issue for a while, which I didn't mind because, I'm let nature be nature. That's,
right.
We're kind of invading their territory. And panthers and cougars, those are, but they're more interested in our dogs than they are peas.
I don't blame them. They're focused on the prize, right?
Got 2 little tasty critters, about 6 pounds each. Just a double. Oh, and they're sassy too. They just think they're the queens of the neighborhood. And I'm like, the cats are bigger than you two. The neighborhood cats, they're 20, 30 pounds. I'm going, Jesus Christ. Yeah,
wow.
I'll send you pictures. Oh my God, they're huge.
That's insane, especially considering how hot it gets down there. I'm surprised. I would think they'd be thinner.
No, they're well fed. Yeah.
Okay.
These are the household cats. The wild animals are pretty normal sized. I mean, they're wild.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
The house cats are, my chihuahuas just are a leg of a house cat. They're huge. Everything's big down here.
I believe it.
Oh my gosh. All right. So do you have anything, any advice, any words of wisdom, any love, any shout outs? I totally could talk to you all day, as you know, but
yeah. But we gotta go. We got things to do.
I know.
No, I don't. I mean, I enjoyed my time with you, so thank you for doing this, and I hope it does help people stay positive and know that they're not alone. I think that's probably one of the biggest struggles right now is that because we're not seeing people and we're not touching them and it's just Zoom, that it's like you're not really real. I feel like I'm talking to a TV. But yeah, lean on your support, and we definitely need to get this over and done with because I'm looking forward to like being out and being social again. I miss people, I miss events, I miss traveling. Hello, travel. So we'll get there. It just takes time.
I had all of these plans to go to England this summer and to New Mexico, and and I'm going, really? Yeah. Thanks, universe.
Yeah, and so what does that mean? It means that we're going to take those funds, if possibly we still have them, and put them towards our bills, or we're going to put them towards reorganizing our office and stuff like that. So, or for a rainy day, which I think right now we are very much living in rainy days. Are you guys getting a lot of rain? No, I just meant metaphorically. Like you and I got to bring the sunshine.
That's it, girlfriend. Glitter it up.
Yep.
All right. Well, I love you and definitely take care. Give us your personal contact information again so that everybody can write it down. And I will see you on the flip side, my girl.
All right. Well, thank you for doing this. I love you too. Website is allergictraveler.net, and people can email me if they want or call me. Email is Tarah, TARAH, @allergictraveler.net.
What are you going to do for the rest of the afternoon?
Well, I'm actually taking a certification in something. So I went back to school in December, and I have to sit for this exam in July. So I'm pretty much studying with a lot of my time. What about you? What are you going to do?
I'm training with a new company, a new marketing company, and I'm going to finish up. I built a desk and a bookshelf yesterday, and I got the boxes in my living room, so I need to get those cleaned up and get my daughter on school. She's still sleeping. I've only woken her up 4 times.
She's a teenager. Don't you remember sleeping?
I don't remember ever being like that, to be honest with you. I've always been excited about experience. And I think that's why I love traveling so much, because you get to experience so much. Right. And she's a sleepy, typical teenager. So I got to go get her up.
I'm jealous. Good for her.
All right. I love you.
I love you. Be good. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye.
So you're watching Living and Thriving with Rusty. I'm Rusty. That was my friend Tara, and I'm so excited that she was able to share time with us, exploring what it's like to be in a situation most of us have never been in before. And she had great tips and tricks. Her information's either down there, over there, up there. I'm not really quite sure because I haven't done it yet. I'm still learning the technology. Until then, tune in every Thursday to my radio show, Living and Thriving with Rusty, and there are going to be plenty more of these little videos so that you have a face, a smile, and a virtual hug from all my friends that are amazing, beautiful, and groovy. See you next time.